broadcasting intents, or otherwise broadcast receivers. Okay, so now let us look at these points. Here, system level message passing mechanism. For suppose one example, when the system is just booted, you just started the smartphone, so just booted, so it is an event, so that should be broadcasted. Broadcasting is nothing but sending a message to everyone in the sense, in our smartphone, in Android device, sending a message to every app. Sending a message to every app is nothing but broadcasting. Generally in computer networks, we see the terms like unicast, multicast, and broadcast. Unicast, sending a message to one entity, one to one. Multicast is nothing but one to many. Broadcast is nothing but one to all. Okay. So now a system level message passing mechanism is nothing but one. I think you can understand. The example is booting. One example is booting. When the system is booted, Android operating system can broadcast that booted occurrence to all the apps. Okay, so that's why it is a system level, and it is a message passing mechanism. So it will pass a message. It will pass a message. Message in the sense you can make use of intent. You can make use of intent. So intents are capable of sending intents. So we are using intents here for broadcasting purpose. Intents can be used. So intents now are capable of sending messages across process boundaries. If we take one app, for one app there will be one process. If you take another app, there will be another process. Like that, multiple processes will be executing in one mobile, in one Android device. You need communication among those multiple processes, multiple apps. In order to get the communication, we use message passing mechanism. Okay. So for that message passing mechanism, we can use intents. Okay. So that's for the first point. Now, when we come to the second point, yeah, we know implicit intents, explicit intents. If you want, you can refer the intent related video. Now, in this video, we are concentrating upon broadcasting the intents. That's nothing but you can broadcast the messages by using the concept intents, and it is in between components like activity, service, all those things. And of course, we have to make use of a method called send broadcast. That's nothing but you create an intent object, however you want, you can create that one. Okay, then you just call send broadcast method in order to broadcast that intent. That's the main point, send broadcast method. Then who will receive the broadcasted message? Who will receive the broadcasted message? Broadcast receivers will receive the broadcasted message. So broadcast receiver is again one object. Okay, it is one component. You create an activity. Generally, we create an activity by creating a class which extends some built-in activity related classes. Similarly, here also we create a class for broadcast receiver, and this broadcast receiver will be listening, will be waiting as well as listening for those broadcast messages, broadcast intents. Okay, after listening, when it gets, it will respond to that particular intent. Okay, that is the role of broadcast receiver. Broadcast receiver is a class. Broadcast receiver will be created by extending some existing built-in classes of Android SDK, and within that we have to write the code how to respond for a broadcasted intent. Okay, so of course when you look at examples where we need broadcasting, where we need, for suppose battery charging level, it is decreasing, then for suppose if your app has to perform, if it is performing some task, okay, it should know the level of the battery. Suddenly if the battery level decreases, based upon the battery level your app has to perform some operations. When you look at, when you are working, when you are using any Android smartphone, or there we see like this, for suppose in order to download an update and install that particular update, battery level should be at least half, I think so. Otherwise if the battery level is less than half, then it won't allow you to update your system, like that. So better, based upon the battery level also we have to perform. Our app has, there can be a possibility that your app should respond, otherwise your app should perform operations better based upon the battery charging levels. So that can be broadcasted by the system to all the apps by using broadcast intents, and that will be received by broadcast receiver of the app. Okay, and about network connections, new connection has come, and the old connection gone, new connection has come, connection established, connection disconnected, all those things have, and there is any incoming call. So based upon see, your app has to know if there is an incoming call or not. If there is an incoming call, then your app should not perform some certain task. Otherwise, if there is an incoming call, then your app has to perform some certain task. Okay, for that it should know when there is an incoming call. So system will broadcast that one. If your app wants to listen, then it will listen and respond to that. Otherwise, it can omit it. Okay, and of course here there will be registration. Broadcast receiver should be registered. Okay, if there is a registration, then only that broadcast receiver can receive the broadcasted intent. Okay, those things we will see. Okay, so the main point here in this slide is, here there is a system level message passing mechanism. There will be messages passed by mainly Android operating system to all the apps. That is what broadcasting. Okay, generally it will be done through intents. The intent is a message, is like a message. It can be used like a message. You create an intent and you can broadcast an intent on your own. Some broadcasting messages are about battery charging level, network connections, and incoming calls. Not only that one, you can also broadcast any intent whenever you want. There will be some system level built-in broadcast intents. If you want your own broadcast intent, you can create that one. Okay, when an intent is broadcasted, broadcast receiver has to listen for it and it has to respond to it. Okay, there are two ends. Here we see two components. One is the one who is sending the broadcast, and the other one is broadcast receiver. Okay, so now the process of broadcasting units. What is the process? Okay, what we have to do first, see what we have to broadcast. We have to broadcast a intent. So you construct the intent first. What do you want to broadcast? Then you have to call send broadcast. For suppose within your app there is an activity. Within that activity, you create an intent and broadcast the intent. Okay, let us look at that point. So this line is instantiation or object creation for intent things. Okay, so it means what intent is created. And what is this new life form detected? I copied this code from some source. Okay, this new life form detected is an action, it is an defined action. Okay, then some extras, key value, key value, key value. and calling the broadcast message. I mean, send broadcast method. So intent will be broadcast. So we can write this one wherever you want. Generally, for suppose if you want to practice, we can do like this. You can take one button, and when the user clicks the button, you can broadcast the message for practicing purpose. In real time, for suppose whenever certain event occurs in your app, then you want to broadcast that one to some other apps, then you can do this. So however you want, you can do, but this is the code what you supposed to write in the appropriate location, generally in activities. In practice, we write in activities. Okay. New life form detected is nothing but it is an action. It is an user defined action. It is a user defined action. Okay, so you have to create the intent, calls and broadcast. Of course, you have to set action, data and category for the intent. You have to set that one and then go for send broadcast. So likewise, we broadcast the event. That's it. Nothing is there. We broadcast the event. Event in the sense, this is what happened. The point here is, when we need broadcasting is nothing but broadcast intent is nothing but broadcast intent will tell what has happened. The action in broadcast intent is about the action what has just now took place. Okay, so that's the point. So that is broadcasted here. So just now what has happened, that can be broadcasted. So this is the process of broadcasting. And the second one is listening. Listening for broadcast. Who will listen? An activity or service cannot listen. A broadcast receiver can listen to it. Broadcast receiver. In Android SDK, we have that broadcast receiver class. Android.content.broadcast receiver. Android.content.broadcast receiver is the name of the class, where Android.content is a package, right? Okay, broadcast receivers are used to listen for broadcast intents. Okay, so not activity, not service, not something else. It is broadcast receiver who will listen for broadcasted intents. But here the point is, there should be registration. There should be registration. Register a broadcast receiver. You can do that one in two ways. One is in the Java code or in apps manifest file, Android manifest.xml file. Okay, in any of those places, you can register the broadcast receiver. And while registering, use the intent filter to specify which intent it is going to listen for. Okay, so that thing we have to specify. Then whenever that particular intent is broadcasted, then the registered broadcast, all the registered broadcast receivers will be notified. Otherwise, will get that event, will know that event. This is what occurred. Otherwise, they don't know, they won't react. So registration is required. Only the registered broadcast receiver can receive that particular type of broadcast intent. Okay, that's what the point. So registration is required. That can be in XML file or in Java file. XML in the sense manifest file. Okay, now how to create a broadcast receiver? We are using Java object-oriented programming, or there you are supposed to create a class. Okay, this class should extend the built-in class broadcast receiver. That is what this one. Okay, and we have to override. Means already there is a method within the broadcast receiver class. That method name is onReceive. That method name is onReceive. That one, that onReceive should be overridden again in the subclass of broadcast receiver. What is subclass of broadcast receiver? See here in this example, my broadcast receiver is the subclass for broadcast receiver. So broadcast receiver, for suppose this is one class, this is extended into my broadcast receiver. Okay, so within broadcast receiver, there is onReceive method. It is already present. onReceive is already present. It is a method. Now you have to override that one within your own class, so that previous superclass implementation will be removed in the subclass, and a new implementation will come. Okay, what is this on receive? There's nothing but whenever that broadcasted intent is received, this is what you have to do. So to specify what to do, we have to override. We have to override on receive. On receive. Okay. So what is this on receive? On receive returns nothing. It is public, and it accepts context, app context, as well as the intent. So within that on receive, you can access the intent which is broadcasted by using this argument. By using this argument. Okay. So you do whatever you want. It is depending upon your app requirement. You do whatever you want within that on receive. Okay. So we are discussing broadcast receivers. Broadcast receiver will receive a message which is broadcasted. Generally, message means an intent. I mean, we can use intent like a message. So intents can be broadcasted by using send broadcast method. Create an intent object and call send broadcast method, so that intent will be broadcasted. Broadcast is nothing but sending the message to all apps. If your app wants to listen to that particular intent, broadcast intent, then you are supposed to create a class which is subclass for broadcast receiver. And within your subclass, that is your class, you have to override on receive method. On receive method argument, one of the argument is intent. By using that intent object, you can access the broadcasted intent. Of course, broadcast receiver has to be registered either in Java code or in Android manifest file, so that whenever that kind of intent is broadcasted, then intimation will be given to all the registered broadcast receivers. Registered. Okay. For suppose battery level related message is broadcasted through one intent. Now, whichever app is registered, whichever broadcast receiver is registered for that battery level intent, broadcast intent, they will they will get that information. This is what happened. This is what broadcast. Now, broadcast receiver will be listening to that event, and it will get that intent, and it will receive that event, and then it can process the event. How it is processing? How it can process? By overriding on receive method. By overriding on receive method. So moving to the next slide. So this on receive method, see, it is like an event handling method, right? We know in Android, we have seen some methods like on click. Whenever a button is clicked, automatically the method which is written along with that on click attribute will be called automatically. Similarly, that's what on create, on start, on stop. These are all lifecycle methods, which will be called automatically. Even on receive will be called automatically. No need to call that one implicitly. It will be called automatically. It will be executed automatically when a broadcast intent is received successfully by the broadcast receiver. Whenever a broadcast receiver receives a broadcasted intent, when it will receive, when it registers for that particular type of intent, then it will receive. All the apps which are registered for that particular type of broadcast intent will receive that message. Okay, and on receive will be executed automatically. Then within that, you have to execute the code whatever you want to execute. Okay, so that's what here. That matches the intent filter. Matching should be there. There can be so many intents broadcasted, but only your app may respond only for few intents. So how we can find out that one? There should be a match. Okay, and we have to register that one. Okay, whenever you register, if you register your broadcast receiver with that particular intent, whenever that intent occurs, broadcast receiver will receive that message. That's what register the receiver. Okay. Now, next point: applications with registered broadcast receivers do not have to be. The point here is broadcast receivers will always, they will not run. Broadcast receivers will not always run. What will happen? It is like an event handling mechanism. That's nothing but whenever an action occurs, then you execute this. Then you execute this. That's what this point. So broadcast receivers do not have to be running always. Okay, whenever that particular event occurs, then the broadcast receiver will start its execution. It will be started automatically. It will be started automatically when a matching intent is broadcasted. When a matching intent is broadcasted. Okay. So one small example. We are almost coming to the end of this broadcast receiver concept. Let us go through this small example. Okay. Now we are creating a class. Name of the class is live form detected broadcast receiver. That is the name of the class. Means what? We are trying to create a broadcast receiver. If you want to create a broadcast receiver, you have to define a class. You name the class whatever name you want. Okay, but it should extend the existing broadcast receiver class. Okay, so what is the advantage of this? This is inheritance. So all the members of broadcast receiver now will be provided to live form detected broadcast receiver. So this class, this live form detected broadcast receiver class will become a broadcast receiver now. Automatically it will become, because all the features, all the members of broadcast receiver now are present in this class. So your class will become a broadcast receiver. Okay, that is the beauty of inheritance. Now the extra code, whatever you are supposed to write, that only you are supposed to write. Or suppose there is an action, there is an built-in action. Okay, that action verb is burn underscore it underscore with underscore fire. For that, they have given one name, they store that one in one string variable, that is burn. Okay, so just remember this one. This is one example which I got from internet. Okay, that's nothing but user defined action. If you want, you can use built-in intent class related action verbs. Okay, fine. Now the main point, we are overriding. Which one we are overriding? On receive. The first one is we are extending broadcast receiver, and the second one is you have to override on receive. And you should know the signature or the header of that on receive. This one you have to write as it is. And now you can make use of this intent object within this on receive body. This is entirely the body of on receive. So there is only one method in this program, in this class, that is on receive. Okay. Now, what is this intent? This is the intent broadcasted. Okay. So the broadcasted intent can be referred in your on receive method by using this argument. Now we are using that object and getting the data and storing the data in one variable of type URI. Generally, data means it will be in the form of URI, right? URI schemes will be there, right? Okay. So we are getting the data and we are storing that one in one variable with name data of type URI. And then we are see, we should know the structure of data within that intent. Generally, if you are registering for one particular broadcast intent, then we will be knowing the structure of that particular intent. Based upon the structure of that intent, we have to use this. So we are calling like this: get string extra, get double extra, get double extra. That's nothing but they put extra. That's why we are getting extra. So we should know that one. We should know what will be there in the intent. So if you look at the previous slide, mainly the send broadcast method, okay. Here, 3 put extras in that broadcasted intent. So first one is live form name, second one is longitude, third one is latitude. There are 3 extras. Okay, they put those 3 extras. So we know there will be 3 extras in that intent. Okay, the same thing, that extra only we are getting over here. Okay, when you look at that, okay, so one is life form type, generally it will be a string, and one is longitude and another one is latitude. Okay, so longitude and latitude are double, that's why get double, and that type is a string, that's why string. Okay, so that also matters. If it is int, then you have to write get int extra. If it is float, get float extra. If it is this what string, get string extra. Okay, so we got that information, and we stored them in type, lat, and lng. Okay, now we are creating a location object. Location object is used to refer one location in our map, okay, in our globe. Okay, and so we can create a location object, and within the location object there will be latitude as well as longitude. We are setting the latitude as well as longitude as the lat as well as lh, what we received from intent. The point here is we are reading the intent and we are using the intent data in our app. That's what the point. Okay, so whenever whenever the broadcast receiver receives the broadcasted intent, you can access the intent by using the intent object provided in the argument list of on receive. Okay, and you can generally we get the data, that's why we will be using get, and we have to, according to the data type, we have to call that method, and you have to pass the key so that we will get the value. You have to pass the key, then we'll get the value, because in an intent extra will be in the form of key value pair. So you should know, you should be knowing the key. By giving that key name, we will get the value. Okay, then some other operations. For suppose if the type is equals to alien, then they are creating one more intent, and they are putting the extra, and they are starting another activity. See that the point here is you can do whatever you want. In this example, they did this one. Okay, so I want to explain this entire code. That's why I explained each and every line. Okay, in this what we understood is, first point, we are creating a class for broadcast receiver by extending existing broadcast receiver class, and we are overriding on receive method. On receive method, one of the argument is intent. You use that intent in order to read the message received in the form of intent, in the form of broadcast intent. Okay, and while reading, you can make use of get methods of the intent. You have to look at library, otherwise Android SDK, to know what and all methods are available in intent in order to read the data. In Android Studio, if you write name of the object, intent object dot, then all its methods will be listed in Android Studio. One of them, one appropriate one you have to pick, and you have to make use of it. Okay, and in this, they got the latitude and longitude. They identified, is it equals to this? Then they created one more intent, and they started one more activity. Okay, it is in that example. Okay, so we are discussing broadcast receivers. First, an intent has to be created, and it should be broadcasted by using send broadcast, and then it should be received by broadcast receiver. And in broadcast receiver, on receive is the method which will do the job. That's nothing but the response for the broadcasted message in broadcast receiver will be done, will be taken care by on receive. Okay. Now the last point, that is nothing but, of course, this is one more example. One more example. I think after this example, we can go to the last point. Okay. So in this example, let us go through this example. Here again, the same point. First point, it extends broadcast receiver. What is this one? My broadcast receiver. Okay. And some strings they have taken TAG. You can ignore that. Now on receive, we are overriding on receive, and it has intent object. Okay. Now, of course, they are using string builder. This is from Java. Okay, they are building a string, and they are appending some data to that string, and they are writing a log. They are writing a log. Okay. So the point here is 2 points. One is extend, and the second one is override on receive. And you can do whatever you want. They are displaying, they are writing a log. Log in the sense, it is a text file, and within that log, we can write whatever we want. For suppose user has selected this option at this particular time, that can be logged. So whatever you want, you can log. Okay, using that log, whenever any problem occurs related to your app, by looking at log, you can identify what user has done, and then we can take some actions how to rectify that particular error. Okay, and a toast is a message displayed for a very short span of time. Okay, and within that toast, they are again displaying that logged text. Okay. Show is the method you have to call after creating the text. After toast is a message, so you have to prepare the message, and then you have to show the message. Okay, so the same concept. And they did some operations within that thing you can forget for now, because we are discussing broadcast receiver. So let us concentrate on broadcast receiver. The first one is extending, second one is on receive overriding. Okay, now the last point in broadcast receiver is nothing but registration. We discussed one point. Okay, we can register in Java code as well as in Android manifest.xml. I mean apps manifest file. Okay, so two ways are there. Okay, now within Android manifest file, apps manifest file. Okay, we just like activity, for service, for receiver, there are special tags. Okay, so you create a broadcast receiver in your app. For that broadcast receiver, there will be a node or tag in manifest XML file. Okay, and the name of that particular receiver. Okay, then intent filter. This intent filter will tell, okay, we'll talk about the intent. We'll talk about the intent. If that particular action matches, okay, and yes, mainly action matches, then the broadcasted intent action and intent filter action of the receiver matches, then this is the receiver which has to respond to that particular broadcast intent. Okay, so that's what we studied already. So for receiver also there will be intent filter, and within that intent filter we will be providing action as well as category. Based upon that action and category, the receiver will be picked. Of course, this is what the registration. This is what the registration. Of course, one receiver can respond for multiple actions. For suppose one is for the message boot completed broadcast intent, and the second one is input method change. For these two actions, this receiver, which one? My broadcast receiver will respond to it. That is what registration. That's it. That is the registration process for broadcast receiver for a broadcast intent. Okay, so intent filter and receiver intent filter should match. Intent, that's what intent action category, and this receiver intent filter related action category should match, mainly action. Okay, going to the next way. One way is in Android manifest XML file. by using Android manifest XML file, we can register the broadcast receiver, and the second one is by using Java. In Java code, we have to create an intent filter object, and within that we have specified like this the action verb. New life form detected. What is the new life form detected? Here it is. I think it is in our example. Okay, it is user defined action. Okay, so fine. And now we are creating an object for broadcast receiver. Creating an object for broadcast receiver. This is the subclass of broadcast receiver. Means what? This is what we created. Otherwise, we defined live form detected broadcast receiver is the user defined broadcast receiver. Okay, so object is created, that is R. Okay, fine. Now we have to call register receiver. This is the point. This is the method we are supposed to use in order to register a broadcast receiver with an intent filter. So what we are providing in Android manifest file, the same thing in terms of Java code. Okay, that's nothing but first one is the broadcast receiver object, and the second one is intent filter object. But suppose if you want to unregister, simply you call unregister receiver and pass the object of broadcast receiver, then it will be unregistered from that intent filter. Okay, so if you see one more, see here, I think this is one more example. That's it. I think this will be clear. Okay, so first create the instance of broadcast receiver. That is what create. Then create intent filter object and register the receiver. Okay, by calling register receiver method. Same another example. That's it. If you get any confusion in the previous example, you can make use of this example. In this register receiver, you have to pass broadcast receiver object as well as intent filter object. But suppose here we are creating an object for intent filter, and this is the intent filter for the action connectivity action connection in network connections, for suppose. Okay, and of course, for that filter, another action is added. That is the action airplane mode change. Airplane mode is changed. That is one more action. Okay, you can if you see the list of action verbs, then you can find out all these things. Okay, so don't be confused. Now the main method register receiver. One is BR. What is BR? Here is BR, broadcast receiver. My broadcast receiver, the subclass of broadcast receiver object. Means what? The broadcast receiver, what we just created, that object. And filter, what is filter? This is the filter. It is intent filter object. It is a filter for connectivity manager connectivity action as well as airplane mode changed action. For those two actions, this is the intent filter. So we are telling for this type of actions, this is the broadcast receiver. Whenever an intent is broadcasted of these two types of actions, then this is the receiver. So you can execute the on receive method of this broadcast receiver. We are telling that one over here. Okay, so with this I complete the concept broadcast receiver.